Honestly, it feels like the time has been flying so quickly. I mean, we're already in March as I'm filming this February reading wrap up, but I mean, how is your reading so far going this year? I've actually had like quite a few books that I'm just like, ooh, I will definitely either be getting the physical copy at some point in this year, or I don't know, actually something else to be fair. I'm not actually sure. So, for the month of February, because like I was kind of in and out, I went to Portugal, and so my reading was kind of all over the place, to be fair. I was even still surprised that I ended up reading 9 books, but I mean, here we are. So the first book I read that I ended up giving 9.25 was Compound Fracture by Andrew Joseph White. So we're basically following our main protagonist. His name's Miles, and so Miles and the other I believe the Andersons, or where's it? No, the Abin. So he's out. His name's Miles Abernethy, and he's been having problems with or rather, his family has been having problems with the Davises, and this is kind of like the family feud, and there's like lies and also obviously deception, corruption that's going on within like this book. And I really enjoyed it. There's a lot more to say about it, but I'm not trying to spoil it. But if you're looking for something that's like family feud, like a child, or rather like this young teen coming to terms with like obviously like being trans, and also acceptance, and like longing love, and also the crazy people family dynamics, which I was just like, ooh, okay, you will definitely enjoy this book. So there's that one. Wayward by Emily Hart. I gave that one 4.25 stars. We're basically following 3 women from the same generation, from the same bloodline, as they are basically the Wayward Witches, or rather, it's kind of like a different setting, because we're following one of them in like the 14th or 1600s, 1800s, and then in current day, and how like the world and the things that happen to them and their circumstances change them so matter-of-factly that it also has like repercussions, or rather it makes sense as to why things are happening the way they are. And it also does with like nature witches and stuff like that. So 4.25, as I said. Then I read this other book that honestly I enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5. However, I feel like it could have still be a 5-star book. I ordered it. It is coming in the mail. I'm so happy. It is Slewfoot, The Tales of Bewitchery by Brum. So we're basically following our main protagonist, Abatha. And Abatha has basically, because of like the death of her mother and obviously her dad spiraling into like a drunkard stupor and accumulating a lot of debt, so it sells her so that she's then sold off to this one like guy she has never met that is living basically in America, as America is still being like conquered. No, you can't really say, no, not really necessarily conquered, just basically the Europeans are going into America, and basically we know the spiel that's going on there. And so when she then meets this one person that she's supposed to be with, his name's Edward. Honestly, he was actually quite sweet. He definitely has tendencies that he's definitely on the spectrum of some kind, but like there's a lot more going on into the story in terms of like obviously people don't really like her, and then the town that she's in, there's like this kind of like undergoing like thinking that, oh, I am the most pious and the most like godly, and how like the people are gleeful in terms of like making another person's downfall and everything that goes on to say. And then there's also this thing going on with like the spirits, and then there's like Slewfoot, who doesn't actually remember his entire past. Like he's perceived to be like this type of god, and there's so much. The story honestly it's said to be a bit of horror. It is in a way. However, I would say you should go into this completely blind, not even knowing the premise, to be fair, but it was really good. I gave it 4.5. It could be a 5-star. It's also one of the books that I really like this year. Afterwards, there's this one, is If Bailey Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. I am slowly but surely getting through most of his books. I've only so far read like 3 of his books so far. I'm getting there slowly. So we're basically following 2 of our main protagonists, Fawny and Trish. So they're basically like these kids are in New York and in Harlem, and also it is basically a love story, but also tragic, with like it deals with like how young black boys are having to like navigate the world, especially in a place that does not want them or perceives them to be violent and vicious, even though these things are like preconceptive. They're definitely something. And so Fawny is Trish herself is like doing her own thing, but also is like 19 and she's pregnant with Fawny's kid. but Fonny gets wrongly accused of sexual assault, which leads him to be incarcerated. But it's also like them being strong, resilient, and trying to tackle things. It also deals with like the complexities of the family dynamic and all that entails. And there's so much going on within the book. I ended up finding out later on this March, that there's a movie about this as well. I'll definitely be watching the movie at some point, but I definitely recommend this. I gave this one, I believe I gave it also 5 stars. Let me just double check. So I gave it 4.75 actually. Then the next one is like a cult favorite because I've been seeing this almost everywhere. So everyone has read it. Some people, this is their favorite book and other types of things. So this is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I read this after that one. So it was kind of like a shock to me as well because like I gave this 4.25. So we're basically following our main protagonist, David. He was basically waiting for his fiance Helen to come back from Spain, or was it Italy that she went to, and while he's in Paris alone, wandering, trying to like discover himself, also dealing with his self-pity and different types of things that's going on, and also trying to accept himself as he likes men but he's kind of like suppressing it in a way. He meets Giovanni and there's a lot of things that happens with him and Giovanni, and yes, I could understand the complexities of their relationship, and also how like Giovanni's like codependency on David, which makes no sense to me because I was just thinking that in a way it is understandable that they want to be in their own world and different types of thing, but the way David treated Helen and Giovanni, I was just thinking there is nothing special about this man. I am so sorry, like why do they love him so much? He is the most mediocre person you could ever possibly like meet. He's so self-deprecating. He's just like, why do you love this man that he doesn't even love himself? Like, I do not understand it, to be fair. And the things obviously has like a sad ending, to be fair, but I was just thinking like I would still want to slap David just once, just like get a good whack. You get? Yeah. Did not care for this man at all, even though I was just like there's a lot more to the story, but I stand by what I said. So the next one I ended up reading is The Weaver and the Witch Queen by Guinevere Gornichek, and I gave it 4.25. We're basically following these like friends. 2 of them are sisters, and one of them is essentially that something happens when they were younger that intertwined that and says that one person is going to be the damnation of all 3 of them. So obviously there's a lot more going on within. One becomes a witch, the other 2 are having different types of issues. There's like this kind of feud. It's basically the Viking era, but like it is not necessarily accurate to what actually was happening because there's still like not much known about the Viking era, but like how like friendship, like the witches and different types of things that's going on. I know this is quite vague, however I would still recommend this. However, I still did like The Witch's Heart by the same author, and yeah, so read that one too. But one book that actually pleasantly surprised me because I was not expecting to like this book at all, I gave it 4.75 stars. Honestly, at this point it could be a 5-star read because I love just how its complexity and understanding of storytelling and how the novelty of that is. So it's Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. I got the physical copy in Portugal, so it's not necessarily a bad copy, to be fair. Like I still need to reread this and annotate everything, but like, so we're basically from our main protagonist Zelu, and Zelu obviously like she's a lecturer, or like in a way like she doesn't really like her job, but she wants to be like a published author, but because of like different types of things that's happening, she has been at the beginning of the book not been able to like publish a book, and also like the way people treat her because she's paralyzed from the waist down is also something that still, despite all that thing, doesn't impede her from living her best life. And honestly, that is the one thing I was just like, yeah girl, you do what you have to do kind of thing. But things take a turn when she obviously like, because of like an event that happens, ends up writing the book The Death of the Author, hence the name, and she becomes a overnight sensation, like multiple blockbusters, multiple translation. They end up like making a movie which was actually in the books quite shit, but like the amount of things that was going on, and also like how unapologetic Zelu is. But whilst that is happening, we're also seeing the book as well, and basically how the robots themselves, their understanding of like, it is set in a time where human beings have basically killed ourselves. I mean, that is the state of the world where we're heading, so I mean, it's not that far off. And so how their understanding of like literature, storytelling, the complexities and the novelty and beauty of it, to be fair. And that's what one of the things that I really, really loved about the book. And there's a lot more going on, but I still feel like I can't really say not much unless I'm going to spoil it, and I don't really actually want to. So you should definitely read the book. To be fair, I've read other things by Nadia Okorafor, and I love her writing and her the science fiction thing that she does. I really do really like it. The sad part is that she was in London, and I didn't know. I could have gotten a signature. Another time, I guess. Okay, so the next book that I ended up reading after that one was She Came from the Swamp by Darva Green. I gave this one 3 stars. It's basically about this girl who is trying to run away from her family, and then she goes to her grandmother's little cottage, and then there's like I think it's basically a water spirit. It's basically a drowned woman who ends up coming back and everything. And it was too insta-lovey for me, to be fair. And I mean, it's sapphic. I usually love sapphic books, but I was just like, there wasn't really much substance to this, and I was just thinking like this kind of force. I didn't really care for it at all. I got through it because it's like a short read, but I was just like, it's okay, I guess. After that, I then did read the last one that I read is Then She Came at Midnight by the same author. I like that one more. I gave it 3.5. Is essentially the cousin of the first girl in that other book, and also like is a night terror, and she also trying to get away from their family because their family runs a magical assassin kind of guild thing that they're getting their ass in trouble constantly, and there's a lot more going to it. You could tell I was not as much as enthusiastic about both of them, but I mean there were good reads, not really good reads, but they were like nice things to like do on the side in terms of like reading, so it was okay. So that's all the books that I read in February. I'm currently reading, I'm in between multiple books, but I mean I'm a mood reader, so it's on theme for me. So I'm currently still reading, I'm reading now, but I'm going to be finished with it today, is God's Children Are Little Broken Thing by Erenze Ife Akendu. And this one is basically like a novella of multiple stories of multiple like queer Nigerian men and how like their struggles based in Nigeria, and I honestly, this is so bittersweet. I'm about to finish this now, and I love this so much. There are like 3 stories within this that I was just like, my babies. Like I could definitely like in a way understand what they were like. I can't really understand because it's in the perspective of a queer Nigerian man. I'm not a man, but the story is actually really. I just enjoy this one. I know that this one for me is probably gonna be like a 4.5 ish star. To be fair, I've had this book for like ages. I didn't know why. I didn't pick it up until now. I'm also reading another one that I'm also trying to get through for March is River Has Roots by Elma El Mortar. And this one is about like sisters, and also like one of them likes men, the other one has likes this like fairy non-corporeal person, and there's a lot more going on. But this one is dealing with like the art of language and grammar, and essentially having language itself be magic within of itself, which I was just like, this is quite a fascinating take on it. So I was just like, ooh, I'm about to finish this one too. I'm also I've been going through this slowly because at the same time I don't want the series to end, because I know we're getting the 3rd book in December. At least that's what Raphael Nicholas put on their Patreon. I'm on his Patreon. On his Patreon. I'm still almost about to finish Angel and Man. Like I've been annotating this, and my babies, these characters, I'm just like, my babies. Like, because I read the first one months ago and I loved it, even though I did get a bit of whiplash from that. But I'm reading this as well. I do plan to also read the Gilead story. I got the pretty American edition because the UK edition is atrocious. I'm so sorry, but it is. Like, the thing is just looks gaudy and tacky. Look at this fine ass woman, like, so pretty. And the bloodstains. Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. And I do still want to, like, I was also planning on reading Aristotle and Dante's Discovers the Secret of the Universe by Benjamin Ariensis. I'm not pronouncing his last name properly, I'm so sorry. I mean, I read this back in COVID when the first lockdown happened, and I read this in 7 hours in one sitting. So I just want to reread it again, like, give or take 5 years later. And I don't know, I was still planning on reading one other let me just show you the other 4 books I want to read, because I showed you, how many did I show you? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm trying to read 8 books this month, like physically read them. Whether or not I do that is yet to be told. After, like, if I finish Angel and Man, I do want to read Horns of Hell by Raphael Nicholas. This one is my baby Rosier. His story of like it's basically in between the first and the second book, but you should still read the first, like Angel Before Man, Angel and Man, and then this one. And then there's also like A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. All I knew about this one, this is sapphic and also polyamory, vampires. I don't know what this is about. I just know that those called my name, so I was just like, yeah, hi. And then there is the next one is Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. I do want to, like, because I know this year I'm going to try and get through most of his stuff. And then the last one is The Saints and of Heartbreak by Morgan Dante. And all I know this one is about is basically the premise of what if Judas and the devil were just stuck in hell together, and how that goes from there. It's quite short, but you can also tell that I've also been on this like queer religious trauma psychosis, I don't know, kick at the moment. I've been reading quite a few of these. So yeah, how was your February reading, and what type of stuff that you're gonna read in March? And let me know if this type of videos are something that you actually quite like. And anyway, thank you so much for still being here and watching my videos. And if you just stumbled across my channel, I don't know, like, watch, subscribe, whatever you want to do. But anyway, thank you. Bye.